So I'm standing between you and the ability to go to dinner. So I'll be brief. My name is Russ Wigginton. On my good days, I serve as your Vice President for Student Life and your Dean of Students. Every day, I'm an alum of Rhodes College. 1988. 20 years later. Blessed, fortunate, grateful to attend this college, in this city that means so much to this world. That's where you go to school too. You thought you were choosing Rhodes College because it's a small, private, highly selective liberal arts school in a vibrant, interesting, complicated city. You did all that, but you're getting so much more, and you're going to get more than you can ever imagine. The world is coming to Memphis, Tennessee in your first year of college. You'll never forget it. 50 years ago, the first group of students of color were seniors at Rhodes. Those who I speak to have never forgotten it. But I also speak to a lot of students, a lot of majority students who were here during that time. One of them happens to be our current Board of Trustees, Carrie Fowler. Our previous Board of Trustee chair, Bill Michaelchek, was a student here in 1968. Anybody ever been to the Barrett Library? Raise your hand if you've been to the Barrett Library. If you haven't been, you get to leave early because we got to have another kind of conversation. If you've been to the Barrett Library, you've probably met a guy named Bill Short. If you haven't, you need to. Bill Short was here in 1968. Anybody have any plans or hopes, dreams to study abroad while you're at Rhodes College? There's a higher ed leader named Baron Boyd who was here as a student in 1968. So you have touch points in your midst to ask the question, what was it like to be at Rhodes College 50 years ago? On February 15th, you can ask Kobe Smith what it was like to be in that first senior class where black people could go to Rhodes but not live on campus. I have a feeling he's going to tell you a lot. One thing he's going to tell you is some of his best friends, his most memorable moments, his most challenging situations happened on this campus during that period. He's going to tell you that it's what made him a lifelong learner. He's going to tell you that it prepared him for life and the journey that he's been on ever since. He's going to tell you that when he was a student at Rhodes College and leading the Invaders, kind of the local version 50 years ago of the troublemaking young black radicals in Memphis, that he had tremendous examples of support amongst his peers and amongst his faculty on this campus. I had the privilege of serving as the Black Student Association president while I was here. I don't think there were GPA minimums at that time. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have been qualified for the position. But they let me do it, and it was a transformative experience because one of the things I got to do was to invite people like Kobe Smith and others to this campus. There's a woman who you hopefully will meet in late March, participating in some conversations about what Rhodes was like in 1968. Her name is Patricia Howard. Patricia Howard lives less than a mile from Rhodes College to this day. She's a very proud alumna. Patricia Howard came to a Black Student Association meeting because I asked her to come share what her journey was like at Rhodes College. And Patricia Howard told me and my peers that it was the most important decision she'd ever made in her life. She knew this was an excellent institution. She knew she would get a good education. What she did not realize is that amongst her classmates, she would meet so many people who would come to be so special and meaningful in her life. See, Patricia Howard thought she was going to be one of the few Black students who came to school here, couldn't live on campus, went in the classroom, did her work, and left, and went on with the rest of her life, her segregated life in Memphis, Tennessee. But what happened is she engaged, she got to know people, she shared, she dared, and special relationships were formed. So last year, when Patricia Howard retired from Girls Inc., after being connected with that organization for 50 years, see, when she was a first-year student here, that was her first internship. She never left. She interned all 4 years. They hired her. She worked for them for 50 years. How many of you are going to do that? You may not work at a place for 50 years, but how many of you are going to be passionate enough, committed enough, inspired enough to give of yourself in some meaningful way for the next 50 years? You don't have to have that figured out yet, but my wish for you is that you allow this place to touch you in meaningful ways so that you can find something you care that deeply about and make it part of your life's work and mission. What's this institution going to look like, feel like, smell like 50 years from now? None of us have an answer. But be thinking about, be working on, be preparing yourself when you come back for your reunion to share with that version of you what this place meant to you. Furthermore, for you to challenge them to make their contribution to Rhodes, to Memphis, and to greater society. Like my colleagues before me, I'm inspired and encouraged by the possibilities. What I know about Rhodes College people, the ones I knew who were here 50 years ago, the ones I know now is you will push yourself to be the best that you can be. And as part of that, Memphis, Tennessee will embrace us and we'll embrace it. And when it's all said and done, this city that for oh too long was labeled as the place where Martin Luther King was assassinated, it has a chance to be a place where that models what community, what progress, and what possibilities can be. I'm counting on you. We're counting on you. No pressure, but I expect you to deliver. Thank you very much. You all are dismissed.